Hey, I am Dragonfly Jones, aka America is Musty.
I am the Jethro Jenkins, aka John.
I'm Gardy B, and this is the Jenkins Jonez YouTube channel. We've got fresh YouTube exclusives dropping every week. Like and subscribe so you make sure you get everything in your feed. Welcome to Jenkins Jonez on the Volume Podcast Network. It is Saturday, April 6th, and we are very excited to be joined by frequent guest, friend of the pod, Hanif Abdurraquib, whose new book, There's Always This Year on Basketball and Ascension. It's a New York Times bestseller. It is brilliant. All three of us were very happy to get an advanced reader copy and get to check it out. Hanif, thanks for hopping on the show. We really appreciate you, man.
As always, man. Thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure. This is like a real exciting thing for me. You know, when I was like nudging my PR people, like, I got to get back on Jenkins Jonez. I got to get back on Jenkins Jonez. So I'm glad to be here. For real.
Hey, they were dragging their feet a little bit. I was like, I'm about to hop in Hanif's DMs. We got to get this lined up, dog. But yeah, always
let them know who's boss, Tyler.
Right. Yeah, we're going to have to go over some people's heads here.
Hey, nigga, don't make me do it.
Hanif, my first question about the book is, because I'm just curious about your process. Like, it's set around not about, but around the Braun Cavs championship. How long has this book in this format kind of been rattling around in your head, and what crystallized into the decision to tell this story in this way?
The book itself has been in my head since 2018, but you know what, like in 2018, I told myself, you know, Braun and I are around the same age, grew up in Ohio at the same time, two different Ohios, but still Ohio. And we were kind of witness to the same movements of Ohio and all that. And so in 2018, I had this thought, like, I want to write a book about Ohio in the era of LeBron James, but that actually doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a functional or material idea. It's just a thought. And so I kind of sat on it for a while. And then I started to think about this idea of immortality, which sometimes gets projected upon LeBron James because he is still playing at like like that shit he did the other night against the Nets. I was like, what the fuck is, you know what I mean? Like, it was another one of those moments where I was like, this nigga could play forever, you know?
Ageless wonder out that motherfucker. Yeah.
And as much as I was trying to operate against this idea of immortality, of like who would want to live forever, I also began to realize, like, within myself, I'm at a point in my life where I would like to live for longer than I thought I would want to when I was like 20, right? And so then the book took on some kind of material shit that just wasn't like Ohio, basketball, LeBron. It had an actual engine to it. In the shape and form of the book, you know, I went into this book understanding that I could, if I wanted to, write They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us Part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and people would buy it. Random House would be cool with it. But I wanted to make a book that looked like nothing I'd ever seen before. You know, I was kind of like, what will it take for me to make something that just doesn't exist? In the form and shape of the book, the structure of the book, this concept of the book's major thesis point being around beginning with something and watching it slowly diminish, it made sense for me to have a countdown clock in a way. And I tested it out in the pregame. You know, I wrote the first draft of the pregame first and was like, if this shit don't work, then I'll just abandon it and write a normal ass book. But it felt good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got into a rhythm, much like my actual basketball game where, you know, the first like 10 pages, I was like, this shit is not working. And then I kind of hit a rhythm, you know, I started hitting them. So yeah, it kind of came alive in that way, but I really wanted to make something that didn't look like anything else in the world.
Was the countdown clock meant to be disruptive?
Was it disruptive to write that way?
No, was it meant to? Because I know at times you put it in like in between a sentence. You know what I mean? Like, was it meant to be done that way?
For sure. Yeah, it was it was intentional. So like I was like fucking around with syntax and sound and line breaks so that people would have to kind of hop over it if they wanted to. I wanted to make it feel in some ways like a basketball game can feel. At times the pace can feel very frantic, and then sometimes like the last 3 minutes of a game take an hour. You know what I mean? And so there's parts of the book that feel slower than they are supposed to feel, I think, because of not just the countdown clock, but on those longer stretches, what I'm trying to do with language and pace and storytelling stretches out the time to make it feel even longer than it actually is. And then sometimes the pace is really quick. The pace is like 5 words, you're moving, 5 words, you're moving. But that is supposed to mirror the feeling of a basketball game.
Yeah, it's you know, like you said, you wanted to write something in a way that had never been written before, and you for sure did that. I want to kind of dive in on the title a bit, because I came into reading the title and, you know, there's always this year on basketball and ascension. And I thought, beautiful fucking title, right? I did not know it was going to be so literal, right? Like I didn't know ascension was going to be such a integral part of the book. And what I mean by that is, you have mentioned, ascension is such a multi-layered thing. It's an abstract thing. It's a concrete thing. It's a literal thing. It's a figurative thing. You talked about it in a literal sense, like when you mentioned Michael Jordan's dunk contest, his rookie year, one of the first moments where he really like infiltrated the pop culture zeitgeist, became bigger than a basketball player. When you were like, he left the free throw line and he landed. When he landed, he had created a whole new world for himself, and how incredible that must have felt. And you talked about how when LeBron came to Columbus and played Brookhaven and Drew Lavender there, where you were like, we all know LeBron is the one. We all know he is going to ascend to unbelievable heights. But us Columbus kids, our good can be just as good as anyone's good on any given night, right? And that was kind of the theme there. And so, I'm just wondering, like, what was the light bulb that kind of went off when you said that, you wanted to kind of have ascension be like a theme here? Because you also mentioned that, a theme of it is kind of this thing that's diminishing, with the ticking clock. And it feels like, once you said that, a light bulb kind of went off for me, where a common theme is in this book is like favor ain't fair. There are some people who are just destined, to ascend, and there's some of us who, no matter how hard we try, we're just not going to. There's circumstances that are going to prevent that. So I'm just curious on like what was the light bulb or the aha moment that went off that made you want to incorporate that?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about the guys. I mean, we all have these folks from our hoods or whatever who quote unquote didn't make it, right? Or didn't make it in the material sense that they didn't make the league or they didn't release a platinum record, that type shit. But my thought about ascension was sometimes ascension is not only on an upward trajectory, it is anything that takes you from the place you were to another place where you did not think you could go, even if that other place is like mythological. And so I was thinking a lot about Esteban Weaver. I don't know if y'all know Esteban Weaver or even know the name, but he was like,
yeah,
for us,
I got hip to him through your book for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like now people might know, but in Central Ohio, he was like Jordan, like he was like
Gregory.
Yeah, him and Kenny Gregory. They was like, they both were kind of Michael Jordans in a way. And an interesting thing about that era of Central Ohio basketball was like Kenny Gregory was truly like Michael Jordan. I mean, this motherfucker was like 6'6", 40 whatever inch vertical, superstar. Went to Kansas to play. Esteban Weaver was like the #1 ninth grader in the country, and then kind of went on a different route and never finished after high school. Just after Independence lost in the state tournament, he didn't even finish high school. But the other player who was playing in Central Ohio at that point was Michael Redd. And Michael Redd was seen as a dude who was kind of like, he wasn't as highly recruited. He went to Ohio State. People didn't think, it was like,
backcourt.
Yeah. It was one of those things where it's like, well, Michael Redd is kind of like, Kenny's the guy who's going to be the all-star in the NBA. Michael Redd will be fine. But it didn't shake out. Kenny was like a 6'6" power forward and played well at Kansas, was like all league at Kansas, all Big 12, but was undersized, right? The thing is, if you are someone like Esteban or like Kenny, if you go out on a basketball court in Columbus right now, you'll find kids who weren't even alive when Esteban and Kenny were playing, but they revere those names. They know those names and they respect those names. To me, that's making it. Like if your name rings out in the city where you made your name, if your name rings out through generations, that is a type of ascent. That's a type of making it that isn't exactly tied to being in the league. Although, of course, I'm sure some of these guys would love NBA money or whatever, you know what I mean? Like the NBA pension, I'm sure they wouldn't mind that. But there's a way to redefine making it that I think plays into this role of expanding the definition of what ascent is.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because I for sure wanted to read the passage that you wrote on that, for the listeners to kind of give them an idea here. So, okay. The other thing about mythology is that there is no blueprint for what to make of an entire life when you're a legend by 12, 13 years old. When you are good enough at something, anything, that someone might throw some money at you. Might slip a white envelope with some bills into your back pocket during a hug and tell you to get something nice for your moms, put a little food on the table. It is more frightening when everything said about you is true, when you are as good as the street said you were, or even better, when you are a child but also not a child, also a phenom, also impossible to fathom. Yes, I swear to you, before LeBron James, we had Esteban Weaver right on the east side of Columbus. And so it takes a little bit more to impress us. We've built all the myths already, and we've seen someone breeze past them and then vanish. What else is there to do but walk away while the sun of magic still hangs over you, at least for a little bit longer? Walk away while your present is already being talked about like a distant past, one that no one would believe even if you told it to them yourself. And, like you mentioned, that was a passage that hit me really hard because like you mentioned, success doesn't necessarily have to be making it big, making it pro. Success is when you have like immortalized yourself in the way that you mentioned, when you become a legend, you know, in your city or in your state. So yeah, that for sure hit me hard there.
Thank you, man. And no doubt, like some of the ways I was thinking, this isn't about ball, but I was thinking about the other day, the first time, and I feel like a lot of us, we're all of the same era or at least similar ages. First time I heard about 50 Cent, like, it wasn't even about his music really. Or I heard maybe Power of the Dollar, the mixtape, but mostly what you heard is like, this motherfucker survived getting shot like 90 times. You know what I mean? In that,
and he's a rapper.
Right. And he's a rapper, right? That was like secondary. And so by the time we got introduced to him, there was like a mythology that entered the room before he did. And to me, that's actually in some ways more interesting than the person itself, right? Like if you can survive off of the mythology or the myth that is made out of your living, that is kind of interesting. Maybe more interesting than what you actually produce.
And also you speak to like how difficult like the expectations are being in 9th grade and being, you know, deemed the king or, you know what I mean? And making it and still not letting that crush you. You know, maybe you don't make it to the league or whatever, but you still survive it. But I think that's interesting. But anyway, like I told you before we got hopped on, like reading this has been like, you know, really emotional, bro. Like, you know, there are times when I put the book down, like, you know, because of like what you said has been so profound, you know, and I just got to like walk away. Or there's times where like it brings about things that maybe I've like hidden in the recesses of my mind and don't want to think about and have to think about in a moment. You know what I mean? And like one of those things is how you talk about like Columbus and how like there's a lot of sadness there, but there's also beauty there. And like, you know, my favorite thing about me is I'm from St. Louis, G. You know what I mean? Like it's my favorite city and I miss it every fucking day. But it's also the city where like my existence was the most difficult. How have you reconciled with that? Maybe I'm projecting being,
no, that's real.
But it seems like it's,
No, that's real. I think you earn, or at least I have earned a renewed relationship with the city because I've had to fight through it. You know, I had to fight my way through survival in it. And I think also in my case, like when you don't have a house to go to, when you are like straight up living on the streets of a city, the city feels like yours in a way that it doesn't, perhaps if you're protected from the literal elements of it by being sheltered. Now, I'm not saying like everyone who is unhoused has a joyful outlook on the places they live. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that for me, because you have quote unquote nowhere to go, you have everywhere to go. And that means the city, by definition, the layout of it, the landscape of it, particularly at night. Like I remember sometimes just like wandering at night because I couldn't go to like the library or wherever else I could get like shelter during the day. At night, and at night, nobody's fucking with you. You know what I mean? You could just straight up wander. I remember just like walking around the city and feeling like this city feels more like mine now than it ever has before. And through both that awareness and then fighting to say, even with knowing that this city feels more like mine than ever before, it certainly isn't. And I have to get out of this space I'm in. Yeah. It feels like it's earned. I've earned some real affection for it, having to fight through it. I've gotten to see it from many different angles. And I think now, especially seeing it from the, you know, my life is definitely not what it was. And my life in Columbus is definitely not what it was. And I think I have to have gratitude for that by saying, like, I've seen every angle of this city, and by seeing every angle of it, I think I love it more. I've perhaps been at my worst in this city. In the city, I think I've seen it, hopefully, at its worst, though it certainly can get worse than it is. And I think my desire, both for myself and for the city, is to fight away from the potential for it being worse and me going back to where I was.
The thrill and excitement of March Mania is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbooks apps, is giving new customers a shot to turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any college basketball bet.
The men's tournament is a blast every year, but I'm hyped for the women's tourney too. Got to tap in to see Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and Juju Watkins. North Carolina listeners, don't forget DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in your state.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Jenkins. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code Jenkins. The crown is yours. It's interesting. It is in so many ways like it's a book about being from somewhere, right? And Tyler, I'm from Long Beach. Tyler's from Richmond. We're both in our hometown still. And I know we both had opportunities or thoughts of going other places, and we've chosen to be where we are. John, professionally, I think was in a place where he sort of didn't really necessarily even have a choice, you know, that he's ended up in LA. But what you hit on that was what really I was walking around thinking about was that feeling of like if I were in Chicago, I would not like gentrification, but it would not bother me to the extent that watching stuff like that happen to my places or to my friend's house bothers me. And I think like you did a great job of balancing, you know, like there's an Onion headline that's like, you know, everyone's making fun of the happy, fulfilled person who still lives in their hometown or whatever. Cause it's like, it's such a like a stereotypical thing, but there is this balance. And I don't know that I've read anyone hit that balance. Cause my wife's from Long Beach too. We went to high school together at Long Beach Poly, and which is where she teaches. And like, we've seen so much change, and that change hurts us in like a different way. And you fighting for things to stay good for kids, fighting for stuff. It's you're more invested in it. And I think about that a lot, about like, if we just went somewhere else, we could still fight for those things, but maybe I'd be able to like sleep at night on a day where we lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The stakes are different. The stakes are different.
But we always come back to, I think, where you came back to, which is like, like our version of you know, you mentioned that you actually moved out of your hometown for a little bit. Our version of that was after we got married, we took a road trip around the country looking for a place to live. Basically, we got married when we were 23. And every pros list we made was like, we just like Memphis because of what reminds us about Long Beach. We just like Oakland because it reminds us, you know, so like, what are we fucking doing? Like, it's cheaper to just stay here. But I don't know. I'm curious I think I read an interview with you where you were talking about how your relationship to the hometown has changed, even from what's in the book. About, we're sort of the same way. I run a local sports website that's very myth making for our local kids. Like, we're sort of boosters of Long Beach, and the older we get, I guess it feels like we're less that, and it's more like someone's handed you the responsibility of fighting for stuff and hurting and trying to figure it out. And I'm curious for how your relationship to Columbus has changed, maybe even since you wrote the book, I guess.
I mean, it's different. I mean, I'm currently in the midst of like a real, you know, I didn't tour my last book. We did it all virtual in 2021 when Little Devil in America came out. And my life kind of changed then, but I wasn't aware of how it was changing to the outside world until like now. I feel like the last 2 weeks has been a real like delight, but it's been a kind of like fucked up realization of like, oh, my life is different now. Because in Columbus, I feel kind of insulated in a way from that, because people here, like, they love me, but not for what I make. You know what I mean? So like, the book came out about a week and a half ago, Tuesday, the 26th of March. And that Monday, I was in Columbus. Monday the 25th, I was in Columbus because the release party was in Columbus that night. And I was at my barber. Just been my barber for like 7 years. We talk about everything. I was at my barber getting a cut on Monday the 25th. And but as I got up to get out, he was like, "Yo, man, you got anything going on tonight?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah, man, you know, a little thing popping off, no big deal." And then I was at the bakery I've been going to since I moved home in 2017. And as I was getting stuff to get out the door, my baker was like, "Yo, man, you got anything going on this week?" I was like, "Yeah, you know, it's like kind of a big week, you know what I mean?" But it's not on some dismissive shit. It's on some shit where it's like they see me as the person first and as the author or maker of things second. And that aligns me that makes me feel a real desire to protect myself in this place, which means I have to protect this place. And I have to protect the architecture of this place, which are the people. I miss and love. I don't know if y'all knew of Sponto, who did Born and Raised out there, passed away last year, late last year. But I think about him all the time, and I have so much love for the blueprint he set for people, because the way he operated against the gentrification of Venice and the preservation of the Venice that he knew and understood. There's a message in that and a lesson in that where it's like, we have to save what we know and love one block at a time. That's it, right? Because eventually you're going to lose some. That's just the way gentrification works. You're going to lose some, and you're going to lose some people in the process. But if you can preserve the people and places you love for as long as you can, you'll outlive the worst ambitions of city planners or governments or whoever else. And so I take that to heart. But yeah, I mean, my life has changed a lot in Columbus in a way. I mean, there's like a real talk. There's like a fucking like mural of my face 4 blocks from my house. You know what I mean? So there's stuff like there's like that kind of thing. Yeah. But my actual like day-to-day living, thankfully, feels like pretty normal here.
Speaking about gentrification, while you're running from the cops and the apartment complex is different. and you're stealing a sandwich from a place just to eat. That was, that was a different way of speaking about it that I'd never heard. So yeah, I just wanted to speak to that. It was jarring and beautiful at the same time.
Thank you, man. And that's real. The real thing is, anyone who like grew up in the hood, running from cops on any level, like with any regularity, the one thing you do find out is that you know the terrain better than the cops ever will. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It doesn't matter if they're faster or whatever else. You know that you love the hood, so you know the terrain of the hood. They're just visiting.
But when the terrain changes in the hood, you know what I mean? It kind of it fucks up the odds a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't know. I think the other thing that that I thought was beautiful was how on the edges. And first of all, I love your honesty about like you're not from Cleveland, and I'm sure that like for the same way that I'm not from Los Angeles, I'm sure that for you, like as a kid growing up in Columbus, the idea that you would write a book and people would say it's about Cleveland, it probably like would have disgusted you to some extent, right? But I love your honesty about the Braun championship in Cleveland, and also how much you did not let it become a book about that. But it is also a book that I thought was a really eloquent refutation of the preposterous idea that sports can be untangled from politics or like bigger social issues. Is like, that's why any of us care about any of this shit, is that it's not just like a new critical approach to there's 5 people here and 5 people here. It's of course it's like what it represents. How did you pull back intentionally at places where you're like, oh no, I could go on a little too long about basketball here? Like, how did you kind of balance that?
Yeah, I mean, the first draft was way fucking different. I will say this too, like, if sports weren't meant to be some kind of, at least, even if we don't want to talk about the obvious like larger social issues that are attached to sports, the politics of place are deeply intertwined in sports. And if they weren't, then sports teams would just be like roaming circuses. They would just play wherever, you know what I mean? There would be no Cleveland Cavaliers. It would just be America's Cavaliers roaming from city to city playing America's Mavericks or whatever the fuck. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, the first draft was wild. The first draft, my editor was the brilliant Maya Millett. And this was the first time in my life, in my career as a writer, where I've worked with the same editor on 2 books, and like not 2 books in a row, and not to get like sports metaphor heavy or whatever, but it is, that continuity shit is real. Like, there's a reason why teams are successful when they just run it back. You know what I mean? Like when you have a core and you run it back and run it back. This was the first book where I had the exact same team going into the book, and that changed everything. So the first draft was a lot of me really just describing sports moments in great detail without any aim. It'd be like in a very like on some like Mike Breen shit, like very play by play, where it's like Kyrie dribbled up the court, and then and my editor Maya was like, "You're doing this thing." And she called it authoritative sports voice. And she's like, "You're doing it." And she's like, and she's so nice, you know what I mean? Like, she wouldn't, she was essentially saying like, this shit is whack. But she was like, "Oh, well, you're doing it here and also here." And she was just like circling hella places, it's like in here and also here. And I realized that I was doing it to try to prevent myself from getting into these deeper emotional places that I was trying to go in the book. And once I realized what it looked like and how I was doing it, I was like, oh shit, this is actually bad. You know what I mean? And there's a point there is a point in the book where I use it to my advantage, which is the talking about that Dick Snyder shot in 1976, where he like the floater in the lane that looks like the sunset. Mm-hmm. That was an opportunity to kind of use that to my advantage to get that image off of like a game 7 is like a sunset. But in order to make that work, I have to make you visualize the ball against this blue background as a sunset. But yeah, the first draft was a lot of me just being like, Kyrie dribbled the ball up the court. Steph Curry shot a step back 3, And to get out of that, to work to like, in Maya was like, that's not how you would talk in real life. Like, you wouldn't talk to anyone about game 7 like that in real life. So talk about this shit as you would talk about it if you were talking, like if you were telling this story to a child, like if you're telling the story of the 2016 game 7 to someone who has never seen it, tell it to them like that. And that's kind of, that flipped the switch for me.
Awesome. Yeah. So, digging down deeper on how like LeBron is kind of the central figure here that all things kind of springboard off of. Of course you wouldn't have picked LeBron if he wasn't from Ohio, right? Because there's that correlation there, right? So I'm curious because there's a certain type of there's a very unique type of affection that we have for athletes from our home states, from our home cities, right? Like Allen Iverson, like LeBron is my GOAT, but Allen Iverson is my favorite basketball player ever. Absolutely. And it's solely because he's from Virginia, right? Yep. So you made it very clear how, you revere Bron, you're in awe of him at times in this book. But I'm curious on to what would be you would say is your unique way that you feel about Bron that is distinct to you being from Ohio.
Well, the thing, we saw him so much earlier than everybody else, people, I mean, before Akron St. Vincent St. Mary, before perhaps his junior year, when they got big and the game started moving to bigger places, to see him in those first couple years, to see him as like a, 14, 15-year-old, and to see him as a football player, like to see him, he was like an all-state wide receiver the one year he played, you know what I mean? And to see that, there was like, it was this kind of feeling of, we got to hear the album before the rest of the world did, you know what I mean? Or we got access to this brilliance before the rest of the world did. And that was, I had never seen anything like that. I had never seen a phenomenon. Yes, Kenny Gregory was an all-star, but also Kenny Gregory played in an era before we knew what like national rankings were. There wasn't an industry around that. There wasn't an industry around putting these kids on the cover of magazines like Bron was on Sports Illustrated, that type of shit. And so to have the entire focus of a player be up in Akron specifically, which I think is an interesting city, an embattled city sometimes with a really rich history that sometimes I think people tend to affix a kind of deadness to it. Like this city was once great and now it's dead, which is not true, but that's how it be in these like factory towns or towns of industry that no longer rely on that industry. But to feel like Akron for a while was like the center of the world, even before the rest of the world turned towards it, that was cool. And to see that Akron St. Vincent team, that whole team was wild. Outside of, Ohio has had some great high school basketball teams. Those Brookhaven teams were great. The Jared Sullinger, Trey Burke, Northland team was great. But that Akron St. Vincent team that was like Bron and Romeo Travis and Drew Joyce and Sheon Cotton, that team was great. They had, I always forget this kid's name, but they had like one white kid who was exactly at what you would imagine. You know what I mean? It's like, at that time, I feel like every white kid who was on one of these all black like super teams was like, that motherfucker's coming in to shoot threes and that is it. You know what I mean? Like that motherfucker's like, he's running from 3-point line to 3-point line. Yeah, that's like that motherfucker shoot for real. I got to remember his name because someone else asked me about this. That motherfucker could shoot for real. And he was maybe like the eighth, 6th or 7th best player on that team. You know what I mean? So to see a team like that too felt really, really miraculous. It felt like on some it felt like a very he got game kind of shit where it was like, the rail splitters in real life.
Mm-hmm. I think we're all within like 2 years of age of each other, and Bron is kind of like in the middle there. The other thing that is so different now is you don't get famous in your town first anymore if you're an elite athlete. You get famous nationally sort of simultaneously, right? And that's changed quite a bit in my life as a sports writer. We used to get a year or two with kids where you could develop a relationship and see them grow into that, as opposed to John and Tyler and I have talked a lot about Mikey Williams in San Diego, which is like, hey, you're 15. Everyone in the country who's a basketball fan knows who you are. You now, instead of 2 ways to fuck up your life, here's 10 million ways you can fuck your life up. Like it's so different now. And you can't go watch YouTube videos of Bron the way that now, like a kid who's the 150th best player in the country has got 10,000 highlights of him. And so I think that's what was special about that too, was he's really the last athlete of his caliber who got to be locally famous, then regionally famous, and then to have word of him, like you said about 50 Cent, like kind of spread ahead of before you actually saw him and everything, before you followed him on Instagram or whatever else. So I think like, that he's the end of this era, I think, in a lot of ways for that kind of athlete.
I sometimes think I had that. Maybe I had that experience with Austin Rivers to some degree. Not the same, certainly not the same. But I remember seeing the Austin Rivers high school mixtape and being like, "What the fuck is this?" You know what I mean? I mean, that is, though, to be fair, that's like a uniquely elite high school. His mixtape is like unique in that era of like, him and. But even that,
John Wall had a heater too.
Yeah. I mean, that John Wall mixtape. Yeah, it's like. But even those guys were not. They weren't on my radar in the same way. It was kind of just like, oh, cool. You know what I mean? Like a high school star going on like a big college, that's kind of the vibe now where it's like, you can watch these tapes and that's it, you know. And for LeBron, it was like a whole thing. The Hummer thing was big, and to see that on the ground in Ohio was interesting because that came, you know, I mean, there was a lot of, this isn't surprising, but there was a lot of racism around LeBron by the time he was a senior. You know what I mean? Like a lot because Akron St. Vincent, because of the region and the conference they played in, because of the division they were playing in Ohio, they was just smoking a lot of white schools from like a lot of rural areas. You know, they was beating the fuck out of these schools. And a lot of parents and a lot of like fans of these schools were tired of seeing it happen. And when that Hummer shit jumped off and when the Jersey shit jumped off, it was a real opportunity to kind of be like, oh, he's always what we thought he was. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And so I think about that a lot. You know, I never felt when Bron left Cleveland, when Bron left the Cavs to go to Miami, I feel like what people don't remember about that time is, yeah, the Cavs lost that Celtics series, and Cavs fans were talking wild. Cavs fans were on some shit where it's like, oh, he can go. We don't need him. We don't, you know what I mean? It was on that type of shit. Until he was like, all right, I'm probably going to go. And then it's like, well, you know, we didn't really mean it.
Yeah, burning jerseys, and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were thinking in the
like,
Comic Sans font. Yeah, for sure.
It's wild. And I think about, I have a lot of grace for LeBron in a way because I feel like Ohio has been at times really hostile to him. Like when he was a high school student, it was really hostile to him. It was really hostile to him after that Celtics series. And to me, it made sense for him to leave for a little bit. And now they'll never be hostile to him again. I mean, 2016 cemented it. That's like a legacy defining thing. You don't, you know, but before that, I thought he was met with a lot of unfairness in some realms of his life here.
Can we pause and just appreciate, because I had not thought about it in probably a decade until reading the passage in your book. Is there a funnier controversy than the Hummer loan? Like Gloria James took out a $50,000 loan or whatever it was against her son's future earnings, which are now, you know, in the multiple billions of dollars.
Yeah. He has $1 billion contract with Nike alone, lifetime contract.
But at the time, I mean, that shit was on Sports Center. That was like
absolutely.
An H2.
And what you said was it's $50K. Like I remember when it was talked about. I wasn't rich enough to even know how much an H2 cost. I thought it was $100,000 car. I thought, you know what I'm saying, it might as well be a Lamborghini the way motherfuckers was talking about this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
bro.
I mean, it's
also there's. Now you go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's also a very strange car for a high schooler to have. Like that was, I think the funny thing for me was that he was like pulling up to school in this large, unwieldy war machine almost. But
the same car that 50 had in the Wankster video. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's so strange. I mean, like that, it's a sign of the times for real. Like people in my hood were getting H2. So it was like a sign of the era. But it's so funny to think of the paltry amount of money it was. And also, if that were to happen today, no one would even, I mean, with the NIL shit, I mean, even before the NIL shit, I feel like no one would even blink an eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mikey Williams,
$50,000 car, bro. Like,
yeah. Mikey Williams drove like I think in 10th grade a Lamborghini truck. He had a baby blue Lamborghini truck, bro. Wouldn't nobody trip off no damn H2. You know what I mean? So for sure.
Bro,
but,
there's two things I always think about when I think about the H2. It's of course the LeBron scandal and the only Tony Yayo bars that I ever really liked, where he said, "I'm blowing H2O in an H2 with a project chick named Rachel." That shit was so hard, bro. Only hard shit Tony Yayo ever said. That's tough.
Hey, that's elite. You know what? Tony Yayo. Okay, so like Tony Yayo's not good, but
okay, I'm finna say. I thought you were about to say he was. I'm like, let's not lie.
He's a great hype man. I've always said the best shit. I've always said the best shit Tony Yayo has ever said on record is yelling Lloyd Banks when Banks is spazzing. Like that's his contribution. Great hype man.
And you need a guy like that. Listen, like we all understood the framework of G Unit. Like Lloyd Banks was the good rapper. 50 Cent was like the figurehead. You need a guy like Tony Yayo to just kind of, you know,
just yell.
Every rap crew that is made up, whenever a rapper gets big and then forms like a crew, it always follows this blueprint. You know, like not to bring St. Louis in, the same lunatics are the same shit. Like Nelly's a figurehead, Murphy Lee's the good rapper, Ali's just like a guy, you know?
Yeah. He's just a guy you like having around, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You fuck with his energy, you feel me?
No, in a rap group, that's your one white kid on the all black basketball team. Like you have a very specific role, but it's an important role. Like
it's important to have good vibes in that kind of scenario. It's important to have a motherfucker who's just like cool to have around and won't start some shit. I love that. I would be that. I'm sympathetic to those dudes because I would most likely be that dude in that setting.
Everybody can't be Lauryn Hill or Wyclef. Somebody got to be Pras, bro.
Now, I feel like now don't nobody want to be Pras. I feel like that nigga's in jail soon. That nigga's facing federal charges.
Hey, the Fed's putting in work, dog. These motherfuckers having banner years. Like they about to do numbers with Diddy, dog. That shit go. Hey, we talking about that 2016 ring Bron had. Hey, they about to get their 2016 ring with that motherfucker, dog.
All over that motherfucker.
Mm.
I want to ask a question real quick. My wife wanted me to ask this too, because a lot of times when like I would read her excerpts from the book, like you gotta hear this shit. Like I talked to them about this Friday. Like you could open the way you write, you could basically open up to a page and find something that'll be like, oh shit, you feel me? Like no matter what page you open up to. So I was like reading a lot of excerpts to my wife, and we were wondering like, how did you, like, you had to see the world in a particular way. Things had to happen in your life for you to see the world in the way you see it, right? And write to it in the way you write to it. And it made me wonder, like when did you become a writer? Like, were you a writer at the workhouse when you were shooting baskets into the abyss? Or like, did you become a writer after the experiences, that you had? Did that push you into writing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, in some ways, I was a writer in those moments, but I wasn't putting words on the page. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's some who believe you live a full life as a writer, and then you just kind of, the material on the page comes when it comes. So I didn't like start writing until like 2012. I didn't put my first book out until 2016. So this is like 6 books in 8 years. But I think a reason why this is like my 6th book in 8 years is because I was writing in the process of those experiences to be in the workhouse and lay on my back at night and shoot a ball of white socks into the darkness and watch the white socks kind of become like their own small moon. And then it comes back down to my own hands. And I'm like holding this moon in my hands. Even working through and processing that as an image in real time is a form of writing. You know what I mean? Now to think to put that on the page, that didn't occur to me till years later. But I also think a part of I'm the youngest of 4, you know what I mean? Like, and I spent a lot of time alone, not off of like neglect. It's just, I don't know if any of y'all are the youngest, but when you're the youngest of 4 in a house with people got jobs and lives, you spend a lot of time alone. And, my mom passed when I was young. There's a lot of time spent with my own imagination trying to create a more survivable world for myself. You know what I mean? And that requires writing. Like that requires internal wiring that is always building a story, even if you're not putting the story on a page, which in some ways makes the writing now easier for me, or it makes the things I'm pulling from easier for me, because in a way that language has been forming itself around my living for as long as I've needed it to survive.
Something I love about your writing is, it's kind of like a tapestry at times where you're weaving in all these different things into like one common core, one common theme. Like with the intro, you mentioned the Fab Five when they bald their heads. You mentioned MJ in the dunk contest back when he had the Dark Caesar before he went to the trademark bald. You mentioned how you enjoyed watching your bald head dad eat dinner because he'd get really worked up and start like wiping the sweat off his head, right? And you mentioned the flame you had in high school who wanted to shave her head like Michelle Indegacello, and you like wove all that together. And the common theme was like, fuck the enemies and the outsiders who don't understand us and our customs, right? We're doing this in fellowship with ourselves, right? And so like I don't really have a question here. I just want to say that I love that aspect of your writing, is how you can just take something from here and something from here and something from there and just bring it all together for a common theme. It's fucking brilliant, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I was like, so much of that was because I remember being young, at least that section. I love the Fab Five. I love them so much. And I remember that was like the first basketball team that I related to in any way. I was very young when they were balling, but we could see all that because I was in the Midwest, all their games were on TV all the time. And they just loved each other. These dudes were like always, even if you look at old photos of them now, they're always hugging each other, always got their arms around each other. And to see black men be that physically affectionate towards each other at a young age was cool. But then I would hear the way that like white announcers would talk about them. And it was such a stark difference between what I was witnessing. Because I was like, oh, these dudes are like They love each other. They're affectionate. They're joyful. And then you'd hear like Dick Vitale or whoever be like, oh, they're villains or they're scary, all this type shit. And that is at a very early age defined for me like what an enemy could be. Like an enemy is anyone who's acting in opposition to that, you know?
Right. Like one of my favorite Fab Five clips is that moment when Jalen Rose and Chris Webber are forehead to forehead, and Jalen Rose is bigging him up, and you could tell Jalen Rose is telling some shit like, "These motherfuckers can't fuck with you. You're Chris fucking Webber. You know, go out here and work." You could tell, and Chris Webber's just like soaking it in, and that shit scared white people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That type of affirmations. Yeah. So.
It's crazy.
You know, like I said, fuck your theme of, fuck the outsiders who don't understand our customs, so.
We're doing that with Angel Reese, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, and I think all the time about, I mean, Angel Reese is a very specific kind of player from a very specific kind of basketball ecosystem. Like people who have not played street ball in Baltimore or like in Baltimore or the DMV in general, like I've played street ball out there. That's a very unique basketball climate. To come out of there to come out of a lot of places takes a certain type, but you are a very specific type of player to come out of there. Angel Reese is the kind of embodiment of that. And the fact that she is brash and talented, and I actually think Angel Reese is on court. I think it's more funny than anything. Like I think, and that is also like I've had some of the funniest shit talk to me when I play ball, when I've hooped in like the DMV area. I think there's a lot of comedy, and you know what I mean.
We have never seen her lose her cool while she's talking shit. Like she calmly told someone in the handshake line, "Watch your mouth," and kept it moving and tapped up someone else. Right? Like she's funny with it.
There's that clip of her at the free throw line where the person was talking shit to Angel, and she turns to her like, "Who are you talking to?" You know what I mean? And it's because she's fearless, right? It's because she's not afraid of these motherfuckers, And to be that light and quick on your feet when it comes to trash talk, be it the Fab Five, be it Angel Reese, be it even like to some extent, I know he's not black, but be it like Luka Doncic, right? Like that requires a level of fearlessness. That even if it isn't your day, it's still your day. That clip of Angel Reese talking to old girl from Tennessee, that game she shot like 6 for 19 or something, but it didn't matter because she's Angel Reese. She's done. It's her day. She's done the work already, and I think tuning people to what that is like is maybe not our job. I'm not. If you don't understand, you just got to sit on the outside.
Do you guys have more book questions, or can we talk NBA for a couple minutes?
Fuck it. Let's talk NBA. Let's talk rap. I'm curious on where Hanif is at with the J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake shit, all that shit. I want to get in the trenches, boy.
You want to talk about that first or the Timberwolves first?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Kendrick shit because I just heard the J. Cole thing like on my way. I landed in Columbus like a couple hours ago, and I listened to it when I got off the plane, and I thought, well, this isn't the Simpsons line was bad, I thought. But also, I'm having a hard time. I know that people was like clowning online because one of the rap blogs posted like, here's Kendrick's first album, second. But I actually don't know how J. Cole is assessing this. Like, is he saying Section 80? Is he starting at Section 80 or is he starting at Good Kid, Mad City? Because that's a different conversation. I would like to have a different conversation about with the J. Cole metric if that's what we're talking. But I think it's
he got to be starting with Good Kid, Mad City. No way he'd say Good Kid, Mad City was born.
Has to.
That's my logical take. I will say it felt like J. Cole actually did not want to do this. And it kind of felt a little bit like Kendrick was mostly just trying to poke Drake. And J. Cole just happened to be there. You know what I mean? Like one of those things where like, somebody punches your homie and then they fall into you. And now you're in the fight too. It's like, it feels like Kendrick like really just wanted Drake. And then J. Cole was just kind of, because of the whole first person shooter thing, J. Cole was just in the orbit. But the problem is, Drake isn't going to rap. We all know Drake is going to do his little motivational speeches on stage. He's going to do his little funny memes on Instagram. He's not going to rap. But J. Cole will. And so my hope is that we have some like prolonged responses. I think and focused responses too, like not just hopping on a verse or hopping or dropping. So have a song. I miss an era of battle where full-on songs were dedicated to this shit. Say what you will about the last time Drake was in some shit like this, but at least him and Pusha T gave us a couple songs, like a couple full songs where they dedicated. Well, that's not true. Drake gave us a full song for Meek Mill. Pusha T gave us a full song for Drake. That's kind of what it should be, I feel like. And I miss that, and I hope that this leads to that because I do. I'm an optimist on the abilities of both J. Cole and Kendrick. I think they both can rap. I think it would be good for mainstream rap if they spent some time, some real focused time, pushing each other around a bit, and don't even consider like move Drake from the orbit of this conversation because that motherfucker's not going to get in the studio. He's not built for this kind of thing anymore. I think there was a point where he was. Honestly, you know what? I think Charged Up is a good song. I was on the camp where it's like, I think Charged Up was like a good diss track. I think he did his thing on that. The problem is, I think the Pusha T thing has, I think that's like forever stunted Drake. It's to a point where like it scarred him. He's still mad about it. He's still very emotional about it. On that like stupid ass Travis Scott song, he had that emotional ass verse about melting down Pharrell's jewelry and shit like that. It's like, man, nobody actually cares about that if you're not gonna rap. You know what I mean? Like nobody cares about your I feel like it's a Earl Sweatshirt of Vince Staples thing where it's like, nigga, we don't care how you feel. We want you to rap.
And niggas want them bars, nigga.
Right. Just rap, nigga. Just rap. You feel me?
And so I think J. Cole's been on an incredible run. And I'm eager to hear him like dedicate an actual full song to this shit. And Kendrick as well.
These have just been jabs. It just felt like these are just jabs. They're filling each other out. You know what I mean? You're seeing how somebody reacts, and then we go and get what we really get. I think J. Cole truly respects Kendrick. I don't think he really thinks Kendrick's albums are garbage. I think this was more like, nigga, you ain't who they say you are. I'm really like that. You feel me? And I'm not the one to fuck with. That's what he's saying. And I can respect that as a nigga who's seen that and maybe even said that a couple times. You know what I mean? Sometimes I believed it, sometimes I didn't, but I've said it. You know what I'm saying? So like, but yeah, I feel like that. And I think that's what we want in rap. Whether, you know what I mean? And so I'm cool with what was said on both sides. Like you said, though, I would like a whole, like, let's drop an album if you can, or just at least a song. We're like, hey, you know what I mean? I'm going straight at you. Ain't no playing around about it. I'm not pretending like I'm saying this. I'm going straight at you about the shit. And we going and we let's see who's better. And I think between the two of them, if one is better, they're so good, nobody loses. I think Drake. Yeah. I think Drake really lost to Pusha T because he's a bitch. You know what I mean? Not because Pusha just destroyed him. He didn't swing back. You got punched in the face and you walked away. You know what I mean? I've seen niggas get their ass beat, but if you fight back, you ain't a bitch to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Niggas lose fights. You feel me? But if you get punched in the face, you walk away. You can't ride in the car with me no more. You know what I'm saying?
The whole like he won't let me release this. Like the OG call. That to me was worse than not responding.
3 week, bro.
Sure.
Oh, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. That was embarrassing.
Absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah, and LeBron, you heard it before. You heard this. You know what I mean? On the shop, you heard this. I shouldn't drop this, should I? Nigga, bro. Oh man. Come on.
Pusha T went on Joe Budden shit and was like, somebody telling me I can't release music? Are you fucking crazy?
That's what it is. And that's exactly what it is. Is more than just like him seeming. You're a grown man, and you're an art. More than that, you're an artist. You have a responsibility as an artist to yourself. On some, even if someone disses you, or if you've created something that you believe in, and you're letting someone else tell you can't put that shit out, you failed as an artist. Fuck it, failing as like a man or failing as someone who needs to fire back. You failed as an artist. If you've created something that you actually feel powerful about and you feel like it could have an impact on the culture in any way, and you have decided that someone else can be the arbiter of whether or not you put that shit out, you're failing as an artist. And I think also you're losing. I mean, at this point, Drake is so big that it doesn't actually matter if he loses the respect of certain audiences because he has like a built-in fan base. But that also is how complacency is built. And the thing that we're seeing, I think, with Kendrick and J. Cole that I'm interested in is that they're not complacent. Nope. They have built-in fan bases. They certainly have built-in fan bases that will continue to feed them. But they're not. They might be satisfied by that, but they're not letting that govern how they move. And if someone takes a jab at you, if someone effectively says, I wish a nigga would, then you might be like, hey, I might fulfill that wish. You know what I mean? Like to sit back and let that fly past you and do nothing is treasonous to the art form. It's not just treasonous to whatever like machismo you're rocking with or whatever the fuck. It's treasonous to the art form that you purport to love.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way you can convince me Drake just wasn't shook too, because you know what I'm saying. Like you know, at the end of Story of Adidon, Pusha T, you know, hinted, bro, I'm waiting on you to come back because I got some more. I got some more zingers for your ass. But as far as the J. Cole response to Kendrick that just dropped, I feel like the approach that J. Cole took was he was going to parrot all of the criticisms that Kendrick got on social media. And he was like, I'm telling you this as an artist that these criticisms are valid. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the wrinkle there is people try to hurt people in ways that would hurt them. And you know, J. Cole is a fucking online punchline, right? Like he knows firsthand how much, you know, the little social media jokes thing and shit. Like we heard the bar he had, you know, some niggas make money, some niggas make memes, where he was like, you know, he's very well aware of how he's like kind of a a joke of being a boring rapper on online. And he came right back with that to Kendrick and called Kendrick boring, because I know that boring shit stings him. And the funny shit is, if you're calling To Pimp a Butterfly boring, bro, that is the most J. Cole-esque album in Kendrick's discography. Like J. Cole could have made that album, bro.
That is the album you know J. Cole listened to and fell to his knees in prayer. Like, I just want to make one thing like this.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you know, like John said, these are just jabs. I don't think anyone's going to be crazy enough to hop out there first and give Kendrick a whole fucking track, right? That's a fucking death wish. And honestly, I think Kendrick is just on some shit like, I don't think he needs to prove himself and hop out there and drop a whole track. Like, I think this is probably as deep as it's going to get, bro.
Also, Kendrick maybe was getting a little annoyed with being lumped in with Drake and J. Cole, and because it didn't seem like he was ever that interested, or at least not recently that interested in being in their company. You know what I mean? And so it's like that shit where, like, you know, these people aren't my friend. These people aren't the homies. You know, like Drake and J. Cole are homies, sure, but, or at least it seems like that is the case. But these aren't the homies, and they're just out here acting like we're equals. And,
but we've talked about this. Kendrick did not grow up as a fucking child actor in Canada. Like, of course he doesn't want to be lumped in with those people. He's not doing research on Wikipedia to write about the shit he's writing about. If I was Kendrick, I wouldn't want to be lumped in with them either.
But also I think Kendrick doesn't see himself as like just a rapper. He sees himself as a fucking artist. I'm different from y'all niggas. Y'all out here just rapping. The way he makes music and he approaches it is so fucking different. You feel me? Like, so I just feel like, even with, I mean, look what he's doing with PG Lane. You know what I mean? The amount of creativity he puts in. He's a true artist. So I'm just like, yo, what y'all doing is cool. You make good bars, but I'm way bigger than that, nigga. You feel me? So I think like I'm not. And also like with the Drake shit, I do think J. Cole takes rap very, very seriously, right? You know what I mean? It's very important to him. He's not complacent. Drake's last joint, I said it could be AI music. AI could write what he does. You know, I feel like you could put the shit in a AI joint and it would have made that album. You feel me? But I feel like Kendrick, you know, just thinks about the game totally different and thinks about his approach to the music is so different. Don't compare me to fucking nobody. And I think he's on that type of shit. You feel me?
Yeah. It's like you know, something interesting here is a track I really, really fucking loved was Kendrick and Baby Keem's Beverly Hillbilly shit.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, a heater, right? And the thing is, that was low key a shot at Drake's Sticky track off of Honestly Nevermind, right? Like Keem used kind of the same flow that Drake used on that track. And for one, I fucking love how Baby Keem has thrown shots at Drake, because there was a time where Drake went on Rap Radar with Elliot Wilson. He was like, yo, I love this Baby Keem album, Die For My Bitch. And Baby Keem just, like, after that, Baby Keem just started throwing shots at Drake, like, nah, Big Cuz don't fuck with you, so it's fuck you. You know what I'm saying? And I love that about Baby Keem, right? Right? Yeah, that's little cousin energy right there, for sure. And it's just like on that Beverly Hillbillies track, it feels like they're having fun, and they're like, bro, we are just clowning, and this is the music this dude makes for real. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that was kind of the subtext on that. You know what I'm saying? So Kendrick for sure thinks he's the better artist. I think Kendrick takes you know, offense when people try to lump him with Drake, because you know, like you said, John, I think Kendrick wholeheartedly believes he's by far the better artist.
Absolutely.
And he's right. He's right.
I would say he's correct there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drake's the better hit maker, but you know, he's not the better
he's
artist,
a bigger
you know?
star. Kendrick's
Right,
the better artist. It's not even close to me. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hanif, do you have a couple minutes to talk basketball?
Of course, I always got a couple minutes to talk basketball. It's a good time for me to talk basketball. It's a good, it's a good time.
I was
Perhaps
going
the
to
best
say, yes, as we're recording this, because it's going to come out after you guys play the Suns, and who knows where the standings will be at that point. But at the moment, on Friday, April 5th, as we're recording this, the Timberwolves are the 1 seed in the West. How do you feel about that? And how are you, someone who came on this podcast and said that hope is not a part of your process as being a sports fan? How are you dealing with this season as a Timberwolves fan?
Now I'm hopeful. Shit, I mean, now I got no choice but to be a little hopeful. I will say, I mean, apparently Cat's ahead of schedule, and so Cat will be back like right at the beginning of the playoffs, or maybe even right before. I loved hearing that. I'm a little bit, the West this year feels tougher than maybe it has been in a long time. Like if you look at the standings, the Suns, I think once the Suns get in the playoffs, that's going to be a different team. And so I really would like to avoid playing the Suns in the playoffs. But I would like to avoid playing most of these motherfuckers in the playoffs, honestly. Like I think the Timberwolves match up against the Kings well. I think they can beat the Kings in the first round. I think they could beat the Warriors in the first round. I just don't believe the Warriors are like, I hate to say this because Steph is still generational, like playing at a generational level, but I don't believe in him. I just don't believe in that team. I know they looked good last night, but I don't believe in that team. But outside of that, it's like, I don't want to play any of these teams in the first round. Like, definitely want to avoid the Nuggets and Thunder for as long as you can. But outside of that, like the Clippers, I don't like that matchup with the Clippers either. I don't really like, none of these teams, all of them kind of make me a little bit nervous. But I'm just amazed that the Timberwolves, they're almost certainly going to finish in the top 3. I think I got to look at the standings, but I think they're guaranteed to finish top 3. This is maybe the best Timberwolves team. I know this is not the KG MVP year team. Most Timberwolves fans would say that's the best Timberwolves team. I think this is maybe the best Timberwolves team we've ever had. And playoff success will determine that. Like that KG team got to the Western Conference Finals. But I think it was, I don't know. I'm going to be careful here, but I think it was I don't want to say it was a worse West, but it was a different West. I think if this Timberwolves team even wins like a couple series in this Western Conference, they're the best Timberwolves team of all time for me. But nonetheless, it's been a fun regular season. It's been like an impossibly fun regular season. This team is, who knows next year? It feels like this team maybe has one more year together, if even that. And then you kind of got to start picking it apart. But what a run. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, they're saying Cat might be back for the playoffs, man. That would be huge, bro.
It'll be huge. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Because the offense, I mean, one thing that's going under the radar, because they have been still winning without him, but the offense without him is pretty bad. I mean, it's like some of these games, it's like I don't know how they're winning. Some of these games are winning like 90, putting up 90 points still. It's a testament to the defense, but like they need Cat back. That offense is really a struggle. Because what I love about Ant Edwards is what a lot of people love about him is that he on any given night can go off for 40, but on any given night he can also shoot like 6 for 21. And what was great about having Cat in the lineup is that he's just, Cat's a guaranteed like 20 to 25 points on over 50% shooting like every night. You know what I mean? So if you need a guy who can just get you a pretty consistent 60% chance you're going to make it kind of bucket, you need that guy in the lineup because no one else is that. But no one else on that lineup is that guy.
For sure.
John, Tyler, your feelings if it's Lakers Timberwolves in the first round? Which is right now. I mean, that's very.
It's a possibility.
Possible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, come on now. It's Brown all day on this side.
We smacking them niggas up. Sorry, my boy. Much respect to you. Tune that thing up, my boy. You hear me? It was a great year.
There's always next year.
Right. There's always next
Keeping
year.
things in the theme of the book.
That's a matchup that I don't want either because I mean, healthy AD, he be putting Gobert in hell. We've seen it enough. And Gobert has had a season. Like Gobert is like certainly defensive player of the year, has had, I think, maybe the best season of his career, but AD gives him, AD just gives him a fit, you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to see that shit for 7 games or however many games it takes. I'm just not trying to see it. But I will say, I don't, Bron and AD are Bron and AD. I think, I don't know, the rest of that Lakers roster it's a little tricky for me. But
I'm not going to disagree with that.
It's tricky. It's tricky as hell for Darvin Ham. I'll tell you that motherfucker much. He still ain't figured out rotation. So, you know what? But building on that, bro, like I think I'm still drinking the Kool-Aid because Bron is still so fucking good. I still think, good, you're right. I still think in a 7-game series, I think they've got a shot against any fucking body, dude. I think they are just a fucking player's mutiny away from telling Darvin Ham, give us the motherfucking clipboard. Give us the motherfucking clipboard. We're gonna figure shit out. I really think that like I said, we've seen fucking how incredible Bron is. We've seen how incredible AD is. I still think they've got as good a shot against anybody in a 7-game series, man.
Particularly young teams that aren't, you know what I'm saying? Like the Nuggets. I wouldn't like Mike said, that's a professional basketball team, bro. I don't know about that. Capital P professional. But like the OKC, you know what I'm saying, the Timberwolves, where like, they're kind of young, untested. I think we could pull that off for sure.
I do think the coach, what's funny? All early in the season, I wasn't watching as many Laker games just because of time zone shit. And so I was seeing everybody be like, man, Darvin Ham don't know what the fuck he's doing. And I was seeing, and that was growing to like a fever pitch. And I was like, I mean, how bad can it be? And I watched one of them games and I was,
oh, buddy, it's bad.
It's bad, brother.
It's bad.
What's the rotations don't make sense? Sometimes, like in late game situations, I'm like, what is this motherfucker even drawing on the clip? Like, is he just drawing stick figures? Like, what is he doing on the clipboard? It's baffling to me that he is employed. You know what I mean? And I know that it is what it is. We all know, like, Bron in some ways is the coach on the court and off the court, I'm sure. But Darvin Ham, like, he is stealing checks at this point. He's just like, man, it's just stealing money.
I mean, since Bron basically led a player mutiny to put Rui in the starting lineup, take Taurean Prince out of it, I believe since then, I think D'Angelo Russell is in the top 3 in the league in 3-point shooting, and I believe the Lakers are 22-10. But it took LeBron James to go to the coach and say, suggestion, what if we played our best basketball players?
I feel like Taurean Prince got it the worst of everybody, because when they picked Taurean Prince up, I was like, that's a great pickup. Great piece right there. Darvin Ham was like, I've got a franchise player. No.
Right.
No, bro. No.
6 threes, 7 threes a game. That's what we need out of here, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's rough. It's rough. I don't know if he'll be there next season, but I do also think that, I imagine coaching any LeBron team has its challenges, because LeBron is oftentimes, I think, thinking so far ahead of the coach.
The smartest mind on the fucking sidelines.
Right. And he's like, so we've seen this with Bron before, where like sometimes teams are like, let's just bring in a game manager. But the rest of the players don't need a game manager. You know what I mean? Like, the rest of the players actually need structure and sometimes it's like, I think what Mike Brown has done in Sacramento is really admirable. And like, he's really revived that team. He couldn't really coach LeBron that well, certainly not as well as he's doing in Sacramento. And so, sometimes it's just a fit thing. And I don't know if Darvin Ham will be there next season, but I hope that his career as a head coach is not over, because I think he could be a good fit just somewhere else a couple years down the road.
Yeah, I love to see a black man winning, but just not over here. Go. Yeah. I don't want to wish a black man out of a job. It's hard enough out here. I get it, bro. But hey, get you a job somewhere else with it. I was feeling like that about Monty Williams earlier this season. I was like, damn, I don't want to wish a black man out of employment, but this motherfucker might have to go. You know what I mean?
For 40 of them M's, he'll be just fine, dude. He will be just fine. I promise you.
All right. Well, if you love the podcast, please, we are begging you, go buy There's Always This Year on Basketball and Ascension.
It's so fucking good, man.
Such a great book.
So good.
And we always appreciate you nudging your PR team to make sure that we're part of your plans. It's been great having you on. Thank you.
Always. Appreciate y'all as always, man. It's always good to chop it up.
Appreciate you, my boy.